Hey everybody, Nathan Driver here on WP Decoded. This is our #2 hangout.
Yep.
With me is Brian Redder, uh, basically talking WordPress. So if this is your first time viewing or viewing later, tonight we're actually just going to talk about a couple things, just kind of open it up. The first one being WordPress as a CMS. Is it really a CMS, and what it is and what it isn't? Brian, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, if you break it down to what CMS actually is, it's a content management system. And, what are you doing with a WordPress site? You're managing content. You're adding new content to the page. You're adding media to it. You're managing content. So it's a content management system.
Okay.
I mean, down to the root, that's what it is.
Well, I mean, if you go down that road, then could it be, playing devil's advocate, could you say, though, that that's just a normal blog? Could be a CMS, like Blogger or LiveJournal. So where's that difference?
Absolutely. I fully believe Blogger, those kind of things. Like I've seen a lot of people using Medium lately. I fully believe that those are all CMSs. Because it is downright managing content. It's content management.
But don't you think that there's a difference between a blog, what we're used to as a blog back in the day to what today is as a CMS? Is there a clear line in the sand, or is it just is it blurred now?
That's a hard one.
I know.
It is blurred. There is no definitive line between a blog and a CMS. Because, every blog is a CMS, but not every CMS is a blog.
Oh, there you go.
There.
That's what I was waiting for.
I mean, because think about it, the CMS, using WordPress as a CMS for a web application, it is not a blog, but it's still managing that content. So if you go back to what I started with, it is still a CMS.
Right.
So
for me, I think when WordPress actually, for me personally, in a personal experience, when it became a CMS was when you could do multiple users with different roles and set parameters for each of those individuals. I mean, and then from there actually take it a little bit further than just a WYSIWYG, but actually do more stuff dynamically with the content.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that kind of defined the CMS. And I know, we both work in the advertising agency world. We deal with clients, and they know the name WordPress, but they know it as a blog, not a content management system. So actually, I've been told by other people, say, oh, don't say that you're building a site on WordPress. Just say you're building them a site, and then in training, you can kind of lead them down that path. But with the popularity of WordPress and where it's at now, with over 20% of the internet being powered by it, is it really such a bad thing to let people know, hey, I'm building your site with WordPress. It's not a blog. It is a content management system.
Yeah, I mean, WordPress got a really bad rep from the beginning because of that exact thing. It was brought out as a blog.
Right.
And, looking at it back in, what was it, 2013, Matt's just last year's, his State of the Word address.
Yeah.
He had this great couple of slides, and I always go back to these because even from the very first, WordPress had that framework behind it, that application platform behind it, but it was such blog heavy that he kind of attributed it to a pyramid that was upside down. But nowadays it's really flipped. That pyramid, that framework, is the solid base of it, which makes it so much more than just a blogging platform it makes it a full web application. So in that aspect, yes, it's still a CMS, but it is a very, very powerful CMS that allows you to have your framework set out for a web application, even though that was there back in, what, 2006 when WordPress started. 2006, I think?
Right.
Yeah, the framework was still there, but it was not built. It was built to be a blogging tool, but still a CMS.
Right. No, wait. Well, it wasn't 2006 because they just had their 10-year.
Oh yeah, 2004. It was.
No, 2003.
Three.
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh, I was gonna say, I don't want to, for our millions of viewers out there, I don't want them to get confused. Because I always get confused with the date, because I was more or less a late adapter. I mean, still with the early ages of 2007.
Yeah.
I think I got in, 1.5 or 2.5 or something.
Yeah,
and
I came in at 1.5. That was back in the I think that was the 2006, 2005 time frame.
Yeah, and so much has just changed. And I think, like you said, the framework was there, but the basic fundamentals we're still building, and I think, like you said, they flipped it, like you had mentioned on Matt's State of the Word last year, where they put more into that foundation.
Yeah.
So I mean, it'd be interesting because you got your other CMS's platforms that are out there that unfortunately have not done that, and I think it's a large partly because of the community and people working to kind of help that move along. But it'd be interesting to see something, Google bought out Blogger, or Blogspot, or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
So it would be interesting to see if they actually took that same method and said, you know what, here's a CMS, and now it's going to be powered by Google. I think that would be a strong contender with WordPress.
Oh, definitely. I'm not too worried to see how that pans out, because I think WordPress, being 23% of the web currently,
right.
I don't think it's going to go away.
No.
It's going to have a strong competitor coming up with this whole buyout. It's kind of been slow to start. Blogger kind of, it's got that bad name too to some people.
Right.
Being don't really have a good word for it, but a high school blogging platform.
No, I mean, it's one of those, you sign up, and it's the basic functionality, just like what WordPress was. And they've never really adapted it since they purchased it. But I could see them potentially, because as you all know, Google recently rolled out Google Domains, and they haven't gone to hosting yet. So it's one of those things like, okay, if they're working on the domains, are they going to next, go into actually hosting and then actual web applications?
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of could see them going down the road.
And I've seen them start that with you can get Google servers now.
Okay.
Basically cloud servers, but I think it's called Cloud Engine or something. And then they've got App Engine, which has been around for a little while, but still, it hasn't really taken off. I mean, you don't know about it really. It's kind of a hidden gem of Google, I think. I personally haven't used them. I've got an account with them to have it. But you know me, I've got my own hosting providers that I utilize.
Go ahead and plug it.
Rackspace. Best hosting ever. No, but I mean, we'll see it come. We'll see a strong competitor come out of Google, but still, I firmly believe WordPress is not going to be taken over.
No, I mean, I don't think it's ever going to be taken over. But I mean, I look at it almost like a Apple versus Microsoft right now, where it was only Apple. It was, and that's it. There's those smaller ones out there, but WordPress is leading the charge, and the recent update that they did with 3.9.2 and they working with Drupal kind of shows like, hey, it doesn't matter what CMS, what platform you're on. If this affects us and it affects you, let's work together and get it good and fix it.
Yeah. I was shocked when I read that. I mean, it's a security risk.
Right.
For the two teams to come together, it was a great thing, and I think that shows how strong the open source community in general is. If there's a problem out there, let's come together and fix it. That's what the whole community aspect of open source is all about. But for two very competing companies like that, you either love WordPress and hate Drupal,
right?
Hate WordPress and love Drupal.
Yeah.
And for them to just come together and fix that because it affected both of them was such a good thing. And I think it was the first time they have ever come together to work on something like that, isn't it?
I believe so, and that's the first time I've ever seen any CMSs work together. Yeah. I hate to use the word Joomla, but I do have my CMS roots with Joomla. But I couldn't see them working with a Drupal or working with a WordPress to actually update their systems, because their updates are like every 2 or 3 years.
Right. I mean, where were they for this update? You saw no mention of Joomla doing that.
No, you didn't. Which I am not surprised one bit. Yeah, and I think they actually charge for updates. I don't know if that's true. I've actually blocked myself from viewing any site that has Joomla. And you can tell a Joomla site if they haven't updated their HT access, their permalink. So it's one of those things where...
You probably have a Chrome plugin on your site, don't you? Blocks all Joomla sites and sends the webmaster an email.
You idiot, you need to switch.
So,
anyway, yeah.
Hey, speaking of security.
Oh, yeah.
What's this about Disqus that I've been reading about?
Some vulnerability in their latest update. You probably know more about it than myself.
Yeah, so I'm probably going to butcher the name. And I apologize, but it's Nick Kabrilovic, I believe is how you say it. He found a vulnerability in the Discus plugin that affected everyone up to 2.7.5, which, at this time now they're at 2.7.8, so this vulnerability has been patched.
Hopefully.
I think. It's kind of weird because the vulnerability was found earlier in the week. It was sometime around the 12th or 13th or something like that. And it says it affected up to 2.7.5 and was patched in 2.7.6. But on the repository right now, it says they're on 2.7.8, but the last update was in June of this year. So I'm not quite sure if it has been updated yet. It's hard to say. But what this vulnerability was a cross-site request forgery and XSS, which basically, if you don't know what that means, it's essentially you can put in code through a request to the web server to run malicious scripts.
What?
Yeah.
You mean people would do that?
Very important for them to get this fixed ASAP. But it really came down to their manage.php file, that you could post a message to it with a script, and anytime that comment would be displayed on the website, would run that script. So if you think about it, somebody could put a script into a comment. I'm not trying to say this is what you need to do on every site that has Disqus. Please don't do it. But you can run some sort of script that gets user information from the database, runs a AJAX request or something, get that user information, then send it back to your own servers to try to hijack the website. So it could be a potentially very bad thing for the plugin. So if the plugin truly is updated now to 2.7, what did I say, 2.7.8?
Yeah.
Update your plugin immediately. Which kind of brings it to an all-around point. Keep your stuff updated.
well, before you update, what are you supposed to do?
I don't. What is it? Make sure you don't back up your website.
That's right. You dump everything, database and everything.
Never save your database or site files. No. Back up your database, then update.
Then update.
But yeah, I mean, this was a thing that came out early this week. At least the first time we heard about it here. The earliest records I could see of it was on the 12th, I believe, of this month. But yeah, do you use Disqus at all?
I don't. And there's not really a reason why not. It's more or less. I try to integrate a straight Facebook on the sites that I do try to do comments, depending on what the actual niche is of that website. So I kind of want users to log in straight via Twitter or straight Facebook using O authorization. And Disqus, I've never been a big fan of it. It's too many bells and whistles, and to me that means there's a lot of vulnerability attacks that could happen because of that. I'm not saying that it's bad. I have used it before, but it just became over cumbersome in what I was using it for.
Yeah, I use it on some sites. I'm not fully on their system, and I'm not fully on the core commenting system either.
Right.
I agree with you. There's a lot there, and there's a lot of areas for issues to come up. But the nice thing about it is it's a cross-site commenting system. So my profile on site ABC is the same on XYZ.
Right.
So it uses that centralized user base, so you can see where I'm active. And it keeps all my comments together, so I can go back to one central place and look at all my comments. So I find it nice like that. And the other nice thing is, it allows you to bring in news stories from other websites that relate to your post that your users are reading right now. So within the comments, you can see related stories, and they're not necessarily on your page. They can be anywhere in the internet that you've defined.
See, and then that could become a problem for some sites, because the point of comments is more or less to generate conversation about the topic of the article. So yes, related topics are good, but when it becomes off-site, then you're taking your user base, that communication, and pushing them away. And so that's where I didn't like that feature too much, but at the same time it was good. It's a good idea, but the concept is I wouldn't want people to comment and go, okay, I'm going to sign up to make sure that if someone replies, because I like this article, or I want to come back and see what other people have to say. But now if I go back, I might get sidetracked like we always do and click on this article that relates to it.
Right.
I mean, that's just, to me, just from a marketing aspect, I'm not a fan of.
Yeah. I can see all that. It's valid points. I mean, it's do you want a company that does just commenting? But I mean, that's what they do.
Right.
Going back to this whole thing, do you want something part of the framework that's part of the CMS integrated?
And there are some large sites that are using Disqus, and they turn the feature off, but it's still, again, just like this vulnerability. If this one little part can be hacked, then why not all these other little things? So you just got to be careful, and you always have to, like you already said, update your site, back it up, and just make sure that you're being safe and secure with your information.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, they do have a great feature of being able to look at all your comments in one place to see your activity. But at the same time, if that ever were to get hacked, then people know where I've been and can gain access to that and use it against me.
Right. And yeah, exactly. They can hack your Disqus site or Disqus credentials and start commenting on you on every site that uses Disqus, and you'll get marked as a spammer.
Right.
So.
And by doing that, you could actually, because you can link your homepage or your website, so you can actually get your, maybe, I'm not saying you could, but if you do it enough, you spam enough, you could get your site blacklisted.
Yep, definitely.
So it's one of those things where it's like, is it really necessary to have all this information in one place when there's a vulnerability out there? I don't know. I don't have the answer, and there is no right or wrong answer.
Right. So that's a nice thing about what we do, is there is no wrong or right answer. It's what works for you.
Right, and that's the one thing I truly like about WordPress. And there's no really one way to do things. It's you have to find your path. And when I'm trying to teach clients like how to use WordPress, how to do posts, and understand what the WYSIWYG is all about, and media, and this, that, and the other, it's you got to. I try not to, but you actually say, okay, well, here's one path, here's another path, and here's a different way to do it. You have to find one that fits you, because as developers, we look. I don't know about you, Brian, but I look at the HTML side, and I don't look at the visual side anymore. It's just become, as soon as I see that HTML, okay, that's an image, it's aligned, So it doesn't work though for basic users.
Right. Right.
But anyway, I mean, that's just one of the things of many things, not to try to put them back up on a pedestal, because Lord knows everybody else does it as well.
Yep.
But real quick, I guess Grand Rapids just had their WordCamp this week.
Yeah, that was this weekend. Friday, Saturday. Do they have a Sunday thing today, or?
I didn't see anything. No, they didn't, because I put the request out to a couple attendees, and they were like, still trying to recover.
Must have been a party.
Yeah, I said, I understand. But I was following the Twitter feed of WordCamps Grand Rapids, which is at WC Grand Rapids, and they posted some great pictures and talking about who spoke. I guess there was a contributor day today, but I haven't seen any tweets about it or anything. So
okay,
I think it was just a morning type deal.
Yeah, I think there were some good talks there. Didn't Chris Lima talk?
Yeah, he did.
Always a good person to go listen to if you ever get the chance. He's always on the WP water cooler.
Oh yeah.
Should check that out.
Put the plug out there.
Yeah, Jeff was out there, I believe.
Oh yeah, from WP Tavern. I think he was reporting as usual. I think even Ann Arbor's own Kyle Meyer spoke. Yeah, I saw a couple tweets about him with his quotes and his memes. So those are always
Kyle's
fun.
been busy this week. They just released version 1.5 of Client Dash.
Oh, how's that look? I know you play with it.
Yeah, it's looking really good. I've used Client Dash. I use it for one of my clients currently. I've actually developed a plugin to go with Client Dash for Backup Buddy.
Nice.
Makes it easier for the client to create backups and see their backups. But yeah, he's really excited about this new update. Looks really good. They made the plugin easier to extend for developers like myself. So check that out.
And you got a plugin for that, right?
Yeah, it's a, what did I call it? Client Dash Backup Buddy or Backup Buddy Client Dash. You can check it out. It's on my website as well, brianrutter.com/plugins. All the plugins that I've got on the repository are there.
What are you up to now?
I've only got 3 of my own on the repository, and I've helped contribute to one of them. Again, another one Kyle started.
Nice.
So, hey, with Grand Rapids, I think these tweets came from Grand Rapids, or it came from some people that were at Grand Rapids about Wi-Fi at WordCamps.
Oh.
Wi-Fi is always such a big thing at WordCamps. I mean, if you think about it, you've got 100 people plus, depending on the size of your WordCamp, hitting that Wi-Fi all at once.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the places have issues with it. I know we talked about it last time. Columbus had a bit of an issue with the Wi-Fi. Finally got resolved throughout the day, for the most part. But I mean, does Wi-Fi make a WordCamp?
Yes, and I said that, and yeah, we talked about Columbus, and it was, I felt bad because I really wanted to tweet, or because usually I go back to my tweets from WordCamps and kind of go, okay, I remember this, I need to connect with this person. But at the same time, I said during our first one was, it made me interact with people more, which was fine. But at the same time, I wanted to tweet. I wanted to look at a presenter's actual slides in real time, so I could make notes, so I could have good questions, or something where I could look at their site. So I mean, I think to have a good WordCamp, you need real good Wi-Fi in a story.
No, I agree. I know we were really lucky at our WordCamp in Dayton. Our Wi-Fi being at Wright State was top notch, I believe. Never had an issue. No, we didn't have a Wi-Fi sponsor, though that would be nice to get a nice 100 meg down dedicated line for our WordCamp for our 150 people. But
I wonder if we can extend that past the weekend, and then maybe I can
route it to our houses.
We're still broadcasting. We can't talk.
Oh yeah. We'll talk later.
Yeah, but no, I think we were truly. I know I was personally amazed because I never had a problem. I was constantly tweeting for Dayton WordPress, and that's at Dayton WP, and just trying to bring notice to people's presentations, or people, or the swag, or some of the sponsors. And with that, you need that good Wi-Fi. You don't want people that are trying to get help that say the happiness bar and can't bring up a site. I mean, it's pure and simple. You need it. I mean, even just hotspot setup would be awesome.
And it's not just the participants of WordCamps that need good Wi-Fi. It's the presenters. Presenters have to have good Wi-Fi. I know for myself, most of my presentations are demo-oriented.
Right.
And if I don't have good Wi-Fi, I'm stuck.
Well, you can always do it on local. Do it on your local machine, you'll be fine.
Yeah, for the most part. But I mean, I started carrying my phone with me into the presentations. I don't even use the Wi-Fi anymore at WordCamps. During my presentation, I use my my hotspot on my phone.
Really?
Yep. I don't trust them enough.
Right.
And I know my phone works as long as I have a signal in my phone, I guess.
Right.
But Wi-Fi is such an important part of WordCamps. If you think about it, what are the things that people complain about after a WordCamp, even though it has really good talks?
Right.
Man, that Wi-Fi really sucked, or man, that food really was not good.
Or man, they didn't have enough power strips.
Yes. But then if you look the other side of it, if the talks are not good, but the Wi-Fi is good, what do they talk about? Man, they had really good Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
they don't typically say, man, those talks just sucked.
They usually do, but usually with their feet, not by the tweets or not by the polls.
Right.
It's, I didn't attend that session, or this is too basic, or I'm not getting anything out. And that's the one thing I do enjoy about WordCamps. It's, being a presenter now for a couple times, I don't get offended if people walk out, because that just means I wasn't giving you anything important that you might have already known, or it might be over your head. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd rather you go to another talk than sit through the entirety of mine and just think it's way over your head or way under.
Right. And I think the more people are finally actually understanding that about WordCamps as a, I always say it's a non-conference, but it is a conference, but it's an unusual one. It's one where you don't have to sit for an hour or 45 minutes to a presenter and give your full attention. It's, okay, I'm going to give them 10 minutes, and if I'm not getting anything out of this, I got to leave because it's not making any sense to me.
Yep. And,
man, don't waste your time on that. I did that in the beginning when I first started going to WordCamps, and it bothered the hell out of me. I would sit there for like an hour and then go to another one, like, mad because I just wasted an hour.
Yep.
And then I go to another one and do the same damn thing. And it's just like, don't do that to yourself, because you're doing a disservice to yourself and the presenter, because the presenter wants to help you. The talks should be there to, light that fire, or if you already have a passion, say, about Bootstrap or frameworks or SEO or whatever it is, whatever the topic of discussion, it should make that fire a little bit more brighter and make you want to be more engaged afterwards.
Yeah. My biggest suggestion to people going to WordCamps is look at the schedule. If something in that hour of talks doesn't fit what you want to talk about or learn about, don't go to one of the talks. Sit out in the lobby. Sit out and talk with other people. Not everyone is always in a talk.
Right.
So there's always people to talk to.
I have found myself building more relationships and learning more things outside of the actual talks. I mean, the talks will get me going, I didn't know I could do that with, say, advanced custom fields, or I didn't realize how important schema really was. And, I didn't know there was a plugin for that. But then at the same time, when I'm out talking to, say, the happiness engineers or happiness bar, or talking to so-and-so from another state, you're doing a blog or a site for this type of client? Well, I'm doing something similar. How do you come across this problem? And we're able to kind of work together on that. And that's cool. And that's what it's about.
Yep. Definitely.
Okay, so now that we said you have to have good Wi-Fi for WordCamp, what else? Since we're going to go down this road, and we're starting to look a little bit for Dayton. So good Wi-Fi, number one, right? Would we say number one? Okay.
Good Wi-Fi, good food, good speakers. Or let me rephrase that last one. A wide range of speakers.
That's a good point. That is a good point. And I think a good topic, I think down the road, is actually talk about basic user, power user, developer. Because every WordCamp kind of segregates every individual. If you're a developer, if you're a coder, then you're a developer.
Right.
If you're, if you know how to log into WordPress and you can create content already, then you're a power user. Well, I really want to talk about this.
Maybe that'll be a good topic for next week or next 2 weeks.
Yeah, next WP Decoded.
Because I have, you know me, I've got a good solution, I think, for how not to use that 3-column layout to fit people in.
Well, and I think that might be a good time, because you drew in North Canton, a great diagram, and I've been meaning to blog about it, but it's just every time I start typing at it, it's just like I don't think people are ready for that yet.
Yeah.
But I think it's high enough time, though, that they need to be.
I think it's time. It's the whole three track thing. It needs to go away.
Okay, well, I mean, you got your basic power developer marketing. So how many tracks should
But
we have?
it's more than just the basic power in developer.
Mm, I
Because
don't want to go too far.
yeah, so we'll talk about it in a couple weeks.
All right, I think that will be a great talking point
Yeah.
in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Uh,
So I think that's our episode this week.
yeah, sounds good.
Yeah.
I think we got some good people lined up in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
They've already committed via Twitter.
We'll see if we can keep them on that commitment.
Right, and of course,
Calling you guys out on it. You know who you are.
let me look on the calendar real quick to see, is there any more in 2 weeks? No, there's no WordCamps. Now, there is WordCamp Boston this weekend on the 23rd.
Okay.
But nothing on the 30th weekend that we have it, which is also my birthday, so. Woohoo!
Awesome.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think this will be a great topic that we can really kind of hit pretty hard on it.
All right. Sounds good. So, I guess for this week, I'm Brian Redder. You can find me on Twitter at bredder.
All right, and I'm Nathan Driver. If you just Google Nathan Driver, you'll find me, or at Twitter at Nate Driver.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.